Hello, I'm Stephen Monkey Mason and welcome to Branching Out. This is episode 4 and I am joined by one of my long-time good friends, partners in crime. His name is the notorious Mr. Paul Cooper. Hello, Paul.
Hello.
There we go. Paul is all the way in South Shields. A long time ago, I spent a lot of time there. My girlfriend actually is from South Shields as well, so Shields is like a second home to Consett, I think. Right, so you are about 2 years older than me. Obviously, we have no school history. We've just, as soon as we met, we kind of clicked, and that was the early days. But before I met you, you were in a band called Pluck. Is that right?
Yeah, Puck.
Puck, hockey puck.
Puck.
You want to tell us a bit about that?
I was playing bass for a band, and that went south. I got kicked out, so I sparked the lead singer, and I was singing for another band. I was doing a little bit for them, and someone heard us and asked us to join them, and I went and done an audition for them, like on karaoke, funnily enough, and then right there and then I got kind of asked to join.
Dave Hall was in that band, wasn't he?
He was, yes.
Yeah, he's a cracking lad, Dave Hall. He was became the bass player of Stomp 66 for a while. He's been doing a lot of good stuff on Facebook with this lockdown thing. But when I heard Puck for the first time, I mean, I never got to see the band play, but like I still try to look at that voice you absolutely bellow out, and like knowing you, and it's just like fucking hell, that was a time before. But at the time, you were doing something called Scumbag TV, weren't you?
Yeah, Scumbag TV with another band that I was in called Toyotomi. There was a group of us, and you know, much like everyone, we were kind of into jackass and that, and it was just all the stuff we were saying and doing, but minus the camera. And then people started getting hold of cameras, and then the next morning watching what had been done and what had been said.
So there is. I mean, looking back at some of that footage, there was a sort of an ensemble group before you started to shine with the older footage. So you had stuff like, what was he called, Buster, who kept humping guitars and stuff.
Yeah. Buster, who tried to find his G-spot with his mum's toothbrush in the bath.
Wow. Right, I'm just going to have to warn everyone, this podcast might get a bit, well, it is, considering some of the questions I've got. But no, Scumbag TV, I mean, you had a lot of stuff of waking up your brother, you were eventful, you could cut some really good promos. And so you were doing that, and you just said like that. I mean, we're talking old high-8 cameras, aren't we? We're not talking like mini DV, because that kind of like technology was like it was hard, isn't it? Because you couldn't just edit it.
For Scumbag TV, it was like everyone was clubbing together just to get a high-8, and that was considered high tech at the time for us.
Yeah, high-8 was just like, you know, even hearing footage back now, you can hear the fucking tape reeling.
Content doesn't change.
Quality does. Quality does.
Yeah.
So this problem, I mean, that's just a bit of a backstory. On that note, so we've got a very close friend in common called Stedman, who I used to work with, and I got on with Stedman really well. We've got a lot of interests, and I met him through you, didn't I? So Stedman.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you did. Do you know how me and Stedman actually met?
No.
We're in a pub in South Shields that used to have a rock night on a Monday called The Office. And I was playing pool. I don't know why, because, you know, I was wasted. And he kicked us in the spine, but I had a white shirt on. And I had this, like, size 11 boot on the back. And I was like, what? And we kind of clicked from there. So, you know, if you want to make friends, just kick people in the spine.
I generally thought you went to school together.
No, never went to school together.
So I mean,
just a random meeting.
So we random met then. It wasn't too long after Stedman actually broke his foot. And so he started coming into work and you all used to like wheel him around in his wheelchair.
Yeah.
So after that...
Full-time carer.
Yeah.
I had to give him baths and that as well.
Oh, he's going to love that. So that was at Earligans. One of the first things we actually did was, I don't think we ever had a night out. I think our first night out was in London, which is insane when you think about it. We went down to see him at the... is it the Pretoria? No, not Pretoria. Pastoria, the one which shut.
Yeah.
We went down. There was me, you, Stedman, Jacobs, and Tamar. Do you know Tamar was being on Silent Witness?
No.
She had a starring role in Silent Witness quite long ago, and I was like, "Is that Tamar on television?" I was like, "Fucking hell!"
No way.
But we went down, so me and Tamar were in a room, and then you guys were in a room, and like I remember going to like London, and so it was really busy. We killed most of the afternoon just like hitting up shops and stuff, and then the queue for the Astoria was massive. I mean, it's an iconic venue now, gone. This was when him was just literally, it's one of him's first big UK gigs. And I just remember you got fucking wasted, like trying to get you back to the hotel was just absolutely carnage.
I remember being somewhere with a bottle of red wine, but like no glass, just a bottle of red wine. Just I can't actually remember going back to the hotel, but I remember waking up still with the bottle of red wine.
See, I had an early night. We went, like, you know what I mean? And you guys end up... I mean, I don't think Stedman was big or drinking then as well. Jacobs was wrestling, so he was really keeping himself sober. We hung around in, like, Hyde Park the next day as well. But, like, to be honest with you, the reason I brought the London trip up for was that was down for the gig back. It was very, very quick. I mean, Stedman was great at organising this. It was the following trip that caused absolute mayhem. So we went to Nottingham. There was me, you, once again, Stedman. Jack came along, and two lads I've known since we were young, which are Adam and Mark, or for this one we'll call them Bullshit Flip, who were more Jack's friends at the time. So there was the six of us grouped down, and we went out, we hit the gig, we came back, and everyone was fucking wasted. And the problem was, it was 2 to a room, and we had 3 rooms, 2 next to each other and 1 across, and they were identical. And like looking back at the footage now, you can't tell whose room's which, and it was absolutely fucking carnage. Tell me some of your favourite bits of about that night just in the hotel, because we didn't hit any pubs, did we? It was the hotel was just... I don't know how we didn't get kicked out.
No, we did go to clubs. We definitely did. Because I remember I was telling the DJ, I think I had a bottle of red wine again. There's a theme here. No, we did go to a club, and then I remember getting a hot dog. And the reason I remember the hot dog is because there was mustard smeared all over the hotel walls. And went back to the room, and that's when shit got messy.
Well, you're right now, because obviously Jack came back with a bucket of chicken, which Jack decided to like try his hardest to put it into the wall, because there was just chicken everywhere in Jack's room. So we, well, I mean, I don't know about this, but we had questionable room antics, drinking antics. You got hit in the head with the Holy Bible.
Yeah.
The hotel was evacuated.
What? Right. Honestly, I did not hit a fire alarm. I don't know whether I leaned against the fire alarm, but to this day, I do not know how the fire alarm went off. What?
Well, I was on camera when it happened, and I was in the room. So, from my point of view, I was actually in the room of Bullshit Flip, and it went off while I was on camera. Now, if it was you, or it could have been Jack, or something like that, but the stakes of the antes, but the entire hotel was evacuated. It was fucking pretty scary, mind.
Oh yeah, like everyone was out. Like, I just remember standing there, out of my skull, just thinking, just be quiet. It wasn't you. quiet. Don't say anything. People are looking at you. And I started thinking, what if they know? What if they know it was me? I don't know it was me. And then I was looking at you, and you were just like, what are you talking to yourself for?
We were pretty hammered. I don't know, like, because we were hammered before the gig. I think even before the gig, your boxer shorts got ripped over your head in some of the fucking painfulest footage ever seen, I think.
Honestly, right, they were Tommy Hilfiger at the time, don't judge, at the time, a very popular high-end brand of boxers, and they were literally ripped out of my arsehole.
Like, dude, honestly, God, the fucking screams. I mean, the problem, see, this is the problem, we'll get into it later on, but one of the things we face now, with Better Than F.A and stuff like that, is being able to put this content online, because we'll get to it later on when we talk about killing the boredom, but again, it's a group of lads just fucking around, but when you like, if you took it out of content or you just seen it as a standalone clip on the internet, it does look like victimization of a third and stuff like that. It's a very fine line to follow, like that kind of like stupidity within a group.
You know what it is, right? The thing is, we live in a snowflake generation where everybody's offended by everything. It's like, look, you don't want to watch it, don't fucking watch it.
Yeah.
This was a group of friends having just like an insane time. And years upon years later, we're still here laughing about it. So whichever way people view it, they can just kind of suck a dick.
Yeah, I mean, looking back now, I mean, me, you, and Stedman and Jack, we're all still good friends. I know it's been a while since you've seen Jack and stuff. Like, last I seen Adam, I mean, Adam and Mark were really good skateboarders at the time. Mark's done really well building cars. Adam keeps himself really... Adam's a really... Like, the last time I seen Adam, he was just top class. He was just matured a lot, and was just, he bought us a pint and he just said, oh, you really looked out for us. And like, we're talking like 16 years later, and he's pulling us about when we lived in Spain, probably about 2 years after we're talking about now. And just, you know, just reminiscing. People remember, and like, scary enough with ours, it's a lot of this era is on camera. So Nottingham also had a few crazy things. The main one is the Kettle of Sick, which like... I knew for a fact you would bring up Sick Kettle. Well, the thing is, the Sick Kettle something again that can't be on the internet, because what is it? It's a fucking boiling kettle of sick. But because there's two fucking camera angles, and someone put the... I think it's Bullshit Flip who puts the camera in the top of the kettle. Oh shit, what's happening? Because it's fucking steaming up. You're fucking laughing like Muttley in the background. You're broken.
Oh man, honestly, you know why? Because I just get I know the shot, and it's just like the camera just steams up, and I just remember everyone just going... Blah, 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 blah.
I mean, but
honestly, like
going back...
I don't know why it was an idea. I don't know why it was like, right, I'm going to be sick. But I just thought the best thing to do is just be sick in a kettle.
I think someone says the kettle, because I always remember the double angles, Adam's face in the background when you're initially sick. Now, and he's just like proper, like, he nearly sucks the air out of the room. He's just that mortified. Now, the thing is, at this point, we're high, we're hammered, we've been to the gig, everyone's smashed, Jack's asleep in the other room. And because there was two to a room, everyone had a room key, and the rooms were identical. So you're sick in the kettle, and then the idea of going into Jack's room and fucking boiling it while he's asleep. Do you know what I mean? And we opened up that door, and Jack didn't know what fucking month it was, never mind where he was. We popped the kettle on, we started to boil, and we started to have a conversation. You stayed in your room, and Jack's just like...
You know why? Because I was eating something?
Oh, but that's just after you've been sick.
Hey, if it's going to go out, it's got to come back in.
So, like, I mean, at the end of the day, you're in there. Like, I mean, Stedman did a good job of filming. He would have got caught the other angle. I was the one who had to boil the kettle. And just Jack's face. And, like, what is it? What is that? And
what's that? What's that?
It's sick. The chicken started fucking...
The funny thing with Jack, he was worried that it was water. In no way did he think... Oh,
he's going to pour water in his bed.
Yeah, like, that's the worst thing that we've come in to do, is pour water in your bed, even boiling water. No, Jack, it's some sick.
I just remember, like, fucking... I Adam's sitting there going, Jack, there's like chicken everywhere. There's fucking just chicken stuck to the wall. And again, this is mini DV, so the footage has been preserved quite well. Again, couldn't go back to the internet. You're not going to get that on. But then Jack obviously comes to the door, like half naked, not knowing what's going on, and just looking like, what the fuck has happened? And obviously...
Oh, no, it's just like the worst kind of wake-up call you've ever had.
So when... so talk about the Kettle of Sick, how it got put into Killing the Boredom. It got merged into a music video mashup with some funny wake-up calls. Came off all right. When the Kettle of Sick got brought up in the Killing the Boredom episode, and This Is Just Life, you cut a brilliant promo about this. You tell it really well. And of course, when you've got 75 people interviewed for a show, and pretty much I would say 65 of them have seen the film, and as soon as you talk about Killing the Boredom, what about it's every single fucking person, the kettle. Do you know what I mean? So when the edit came down, you, like, who cut this amazing promo, suddenly get, like, backtracked because everybody else cuts in, because obviously you've got to try and get as much reaction shots in and tell the story. The best thing about that was in the very last episode when there was loads of outtakes, when you and Jack, like the interview of just you and Jack telling that story. I think it couldn't be written any better. I think that's what you and Jack really had good in common about cutting promos, and I think it just to justify that kettle light, because like I mean, it wasn't even like, it was sort of pink and brown and then it just boiled, didn't it? So
I think that's the thing, like when you see what's in there, the sheer ridiculousness of it, like there is no one that can see that and not just think, what the fuck is going on here? And you know, as gross as it is, it's so humorous.
Yeah.
And like people laugh and people love it and people want to know, like, what the fuck's, what's going on? Why did you do that?
Yeah, I think a lot of the time when
sit down with Jack and yourself to kind of talk about it, it's comical, because if you spoke to someone, you know, I was friends with someone that was sick in a kettle, I don't speak to them anymore. It's that whole thing of, it's a bond of like shared memories like that never leave you.
I always,
as gross as it is.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I mean, the thing is about it is, it's like you could just put the Kettle of Sick on the internet and like, oh, it's sick of the kettle. But I think that the whole trip, like, you've got to know that the fact that everyone's good friends and everyone's looking out for each other, and we went out and we had a fucking brilliant night. And unfortunately, me and you did it again, but like everyone else didn't, kind of thing, you know, life got in the way a bit. But
yeah. What
What else do you remember about Nottingham? Footage-wise?
Oh, God. You know, it's weird to talk about it because it's not what I remember, it's what I've been shown and then trying to piece together. It's like doing a jigsaw whilst you're blindfolded and drunk. And then someone goes, right, put this together. And you're like, no, I can't do it. And then someone goes, look at this. And then you're like, what happened? Who done that to me? To be fair, the state were all in. I think we got off pretty lightly, but the evacuation of the hotel just made it very real.
That
to
was
the point where it was like, yeah, this might have gone a little too far.
I think Stedman, probably about anyone, was shitting himself because it was booked under his name. I think that was one of the problems,
Yeah.
No, but he did a great job at booking and all that. I think we all came back just having a good night. I mean, I think personally, looking back, I think I've only ever seen you almost lose your temper once on camera. And it, like, I mean, again, we were all just hanging out. We're in Stedman's living room, and you're sitting right in front of the camera. And it's at the time where they had the poster, and you sort of look one way, and as you look the other, you get hit right on the beak of the fucking nose, and it's so fucking close, and you can feel the pain. And you're just like, right, you're on a warning. And that's the only time I've ever seen you go, right, fucking careful.
Yeah. Who hit us?
Don't know if it. I mean, I'm behind you on the. When I remember looking at the footage, right? So I'm over your shoulder, so you can see me in the whole shot. And even I react, and I just seen the entire poster bend across your face. I think.
Oh, yes.
I think if I had to guess, I would say Casper was filming, Stedman hit you, or it's exactly the other way around because I think that's when it was that time. So. It was funny, like, it was probably about the same time we pulled your bum hair out between your legs, but we're trying to keep this quite PG.
God.
I'm trying to keep it PG, alright? So after that,
we can't talk about the fly eyes.
bzz, bzz, look, fly's eyes. Well, that was your ripping your boxer shorts, so we can. You had a rip in your boxer short. Again, look, right, this is us, like, you got us in a room. And we're very spontaneous, and we always captured the moment, and looking back we fucking were, and we made the most of every time. You cannot say that we just hung out once and had a boring night. You had a rip in the bottom of your pants, you pull your balls out, you've got deep heat on them at first, or deep freeze, one of the two, and you know you're going fly's eyes, bzz, 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 like that.
Yeah, and then they got sprayed, and then I think they got whacked as well.
It wasn't that. It's not the whack that gets everyone. It's the fucking flick of the finger.
Oh. Uh-huh.
So to put this in perspective of anyone who's listening to this, Cooper is on the floor. He is figuring eight his balls, making them look like flies' eyes. And it's my finger that comes in and flicks your ball sack, but obviously you're fully exposed. And you're nearly sick over that clip.
Yeah. It was a hard flick.
Yeah.
What was worse is that you put the finger straight into your mouth.
Well, you've got to do that. I mean, you've got to capture the moment. You've got to remember it. You get your 3D, but you need your 4DX, man. You need that extra little bit, man. Right, so what we got next on this list. So around that time was my 21st birthday. Considering I turned 36 last week, it's fucking terrifying. Have you died? Hello? We might have died. He's gone. We might have a connection breakup. Hello? Oh, I can... Oh, he's there. Did you hear what I said? You back?
Ben?
So what?
Nah, it's just cool.
Alright, cool.
I just had to check on me little one.
Alright, well you could have warned us. I was like, hello? Right, so...
Hey, sorry, dude, you know, like, I'll tell her to shut the fuck up.
What you just did? I was checking connection. It's all about the connection, you see. No, I'm glad she's doing okay. 21st birthday, I was just saying there, I was 37 last week, which is terrifying. I think we're talking about my 21st. Fucking carnage. Absolute carnage.
Oh shit, that was the party, wasn't it?
That was... we had it in a nightclub. My friend Conrad did an amazing job at hosting it. We... Unfortunately, we were meant to have some bands play, but this was still really early days, this. We showed a demo version of Killing the Boredom. I got covered in whipped cream. I had my boxer shorts over my head. It's the first time you met Ned, which was cool on camera. But apart from all the stuff like the people like fake punching and, you know, like getting tied up and stuff like that, it was the fiasco in the toilets. Do you remember?
Is this with the fire extinguisher?
You are there, so there's two toilet cubicles. You are wedged between the top of the two. And Jack is pinned up against the wall with a fire extinguisher. And the entire thing is emptied on him. And I thought then and there that we were going to be in fucking serious trouble, man.
Yeah, shit went south after, like... I mean, the thing was, that was quite late into the party when it happened. Like, it was, like... prime time drunk, where it was just like, right, everyone's really fucked up enough to do some crazy shit. And I remember the fire extinguisher going off, and I was hanging over the two cubicles trying to be sick in the toilet at a height. So it's like a challenge.
I mean, you did get blasted with a fire extinguisher on the way down, didn't you?
Yeah.
But no, I mean,
Yeah,
it's...
I got hosed.
But that's the thing about Casper, though, because Casper doesn't drink. And he was just great. I mean, that's why that night is captured so well, because Casper just filmed everything. The biggest problem we had, obviously, audio upstairs and stuff like that. But again, you got to do something memorable for your 21st, I think. So, right. So
I got took to Amsterdam for my 21st, and I was really confused because the last that took us hated weed.
Well, that's it. That is a bit of a weird confusion.
It just felt like a trap. It's like, you brought me here. But
well,
yeah,
it's funny enough.
Side note.
It's funny enough. We're going to talk about Amsterdam now. So we went to Amsterdam after the Nottingham. Originally, it was meant to be the original 6, and Casper wanted to come. Again, going back to Casper, likes film and everything. He's perfect for, there's the camera, capture it. So, unfortunately, Rich dropped out early on. Jack dropped out at the last minute. Adam and bullshit Flip couldn't afford it. So it ended up being me and you. And it ended up being Casper and now his wife, Swan. Neither of them drink. Neither of them smoke. But it was one of the funniest trips away ever. So we were locked in.
Crazy! It was like being taken to Amsterdam with your mum and dad.
Casper's gonna fucking hate you for that one. But I mean, just like tell us, like before we get to Amsterdam, tell me from your point of view what you remember about the ferry trip.
Oh fuck! Being in the piano bar, eating a toilet cake.
What, when you had the urinal cake in front of the entire restaurant? Yeah. I don't know how we didn't get banned from the ferry.
Honestly, like, I remember there was a guy looking going, son, you don't want to do that. And it's like, yeah, you're right, I don't want to do it, but I feel like I have to. I've got it. And I just remember kind of doing it, and I was very aware of where we were. This, like, kind of nice piano bar, music's playing, everyone's having a good time. And for some reason I decided then that that's the best time to do it. Just kind of fuck up everybody's shit.
I mean, considering we're going to Amsterdam, like on the way back we just recovered, so on the way there we just drank. I mean, we went to the nightclub. I think me and you ended up on the deck outside when we're not meant to, when it was fucking gale force winds.
I remember just trying to stand up straight, but like it's so bad as right up. It was just blowing like crazy wind, and me and you were just like, "What the fuck? What the fuck are we doing out here?"
I mean, you were sick in a dog bag. You hung it on Casper's door, only for us to realise it wasn't Casper's fucking door. Casper, like literally. I mean, the thing is, like our cabin had 4 beds, but Casper was smart enough not to fucking stay with us. Like, they had, like, because originally there would have been about 8 of us, so if I was Casper to, like, get him some money back, I probably would have cancelled one of the cabins and just went as 1, but no, we still went as 2, which is probably the smartest thing Casper's ever fucking done, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But then, do you want to tell us about the incident from your point of view, because you guys locked me in the fucking toilet.
Oh yeah. Well, that was it. You were in the toilet. You were waiting that long. Like, I was just like, oh fuck this. So we locked you in and then started turning the light switch on and off enough to put you into some kind of fit.
You left us in there for
you
about...
Happy. I remember you coming out and not being happy.
Well, I was in there for a good 40 minutes, you know. You were fucking fairly going for it, but how did I get my revenge on you?
What the fuck did you do?
Oh my god, it has been a while. I mean, we are talking 2004. We're talking 16 years ago.
Yeah.
Come on, you love brushing your teeth, don't you?
Oh, fuck. Yeah. I remember. Toothbrush in your ass crack. I don't know whether I went all the way up.
Well, no, not that's fucking... It was
Well,
just...
It was pretty fucking unusable, like.
The thing is, I mean... I remember you brushing your teeth about 3 or 4 times, and then the door opened and here's me naked because I didn't even have a fucking towel. You're filming, Casper's got the door, Swan, Casper's wife, is in the corner, and like there I am, fully exposed, and then I turn around and you can just see the tip of your toothbrush and you zoom right in. Swan collapses in the floor, Casper can't believe what he's just fucking witnessed. And like, again, like, I knew when you guys opened the door, because we didn't have mobile phones then, do you know what I mean? I fucking knew that if I had done that, you would be filming it and it would be captured perfectly, and like, fucking toothbrush. So we travelled over there. I remember we taking the pumpkin masks but never using them. We get to Amsterdam. It's pretty much a fucking fast trip. You know, we're chucked on the bus, we get to Amsterdam. I remember you wanting to go in the strip joint because you thought they had prosthetic dancing. I was like, what are you doing?
Don't discriminate.
No, I'm not, but like, we hit the... we went up the red light district. We went to the coffee house. We then got lost in this fucking long... Coffee. It was some nice coffee. We got lost in this market, didn't we? I had a hot dog with death.
Yeah, hot dog with death was awesome.
I mean, I remember I've got long red hair in this footage. So, I mean, we sort of hung out again in the coffee shop because we wanted to make the most of the coffee because it's real nice coffee. Casper and Swan went around some of the shops and stuff. I do remember being in some video...
Casper said he was going to the sex museum.
I mean, Casper does have a sex dungeon, but like, you think 50 Shades of Grey is fucking one thing. You want to see 50 Shades of White?
50 Shades of Casper. He'll ghost fuck you.
Ectoplasm.
He'll ghost bust you with his dirt.
So, we did hit a few shops. I remember being in a video shop, seeing some films and stuff like that. I mean, Amsterdam was quite expensive. There is some footage, but the icing on the cake with Amsterdam was when we went to get back on the bus, and I don't mind saying this, when I'm in Amsterdam, I am absolutely blitzed. It's hot. I get on the bus, you're filming us, Casper's filming us, the bus is fucking packed. I think we just made the bus. I remember getting on the bus and going, right, don't look at anyone, just get to your seat, sit down, and, you know, we'll be on the ferry, then we're heading way back, you know what I mean? You've got nothing on you, you've had a good time. I sit down, I take one look out the window, I look back, realising what's going on, I take another look, and what do I see on the street corner? Please tell me, Paul.
It was a homeless guy just thrapping himself off like a madman. Just thrapping it like there is no tomorrow. But the thing you need to know is that this guy was dressed like Rick James, like a red codpiece and some fucked up afro. And the guy was just going to town on himself in the middle of Amsterdam.
In broad daylight.
You can bleach your eyes. Oh, in broad daylight. You can bleach your eyes. That will never ever wash out. Just thrapping it like he's possessed by some kind of sex demon.
I didn't know what the fuck I was looking at. You zoomed right into his fucking face, which didn't help the fact. Everyone is starting to look at me because I've got the muttly giggles like you, and then everyone else starts looking at this guy, and like he's fucking going for it, and like it's filmed on 2 camera angles, and again going back to like footage you can release and you can't release unless you see that guy in full. I mean, you're never going to track that guy down for a fucking home video release, are you? That was one of the problems we had back then.
Got that fucker.
Oh man, it was just, I just couldn't fuck. We were still laughing about it all the way back to the ferry.
I remember turning to you and just saying, "Hey, monkey, that guy," and you just breaking, just man. Absolutely breaking, just in tears.
It's not something you expect, literally, it's not. But apart from that, again, Amsterdam was a very, very short trip. we kept
Yeah, if it
filming
was
quite.
any longer, we probably would have been dead.
Well, that's it. I mean, we did film quite a lot. As life moves on, people, you know, work together, don't work together, travel, girlfriends, lives, kids, and stuff. It all happens. We stayed in contact for quite a while. We filmed quite a lot of stuff. One of the biggest nights I'm forever proud of, and hasn't been released, was the night we all went down to the pump house, and
Oh, right.
to have me, you, Jack, Ned, Jake, Rowell, P. Fuck me, who else was there?
Casper?
Casper. He's gonna.
Stedman?
Casper's gonna fucking hate that I've just forgot him again after that Rio Venue video. It was.
Yeah,
It was
wasn't
like.
happy.
There was never a time ever that we were together again like that. So
Nah, that was like a gathering.
it was. So basically, that place is now getting turned into a cafe. You know.
Really?
Yep. So there's an abandoned building in the middle of the woods. It's been used for a music video. It's popped up in a video I did. It's water. That is actually water. That actually comes from some of the footage. And it was my concocted plan. Again, getting everyone together like that was almost impossible. It was always me with somebody else. So Cooper had came over. We went down. We're all hanging out in these woods. You know, there's nowhere to get to it by car. We had beers, we had a bit of smoke. We were just hanging out. Again, filming on cameras. And all of a sudden, oh! And like, Peterson's like, what the fuck is that? Jack is starting to fucking shake. Raoul is that high. Raoul doesn't even know what's going on. You, like a fucking cobra ninja, run off into the fucking woods like to never be seen. Like, you're like creeping around. In the meantime, on the other camera angle, you've got Casper, Ned, and Jake coming down and circling this building and this open fire like the Blair Witch Project. And when you like see that footage cut between the two, and like, I know what's happening, but I'm filming, so you don't really need to worry about me. Raoul again's just going, oh, I don't know what's going on. Pearson's just like, fucking hell, there's somebody in the bush. Jack's just screaming like a girl, and when fucking Ned runs out, honest to God, Jack jumps nearly to the fucking roof, man. And then you're like, didn't see me. I'm like the sneak in the night, running around like a fucking ninja.
Well, to be fair, when you hear some crazy shit like that, you never stand still. You've got to keep moving. You've got to be out of the way. Have you not seen Predator?
Hi. I've seen Predator a few times.
Yeah. The thing was, though, like, the other thing is when we're all together like that, you're now at the point of expecting something to happen. It's not going to be some crazed beast. It'll be one of the fuckers trying to do something to another fucker. So it's a case of always trying to be on guard, even in the state you're in, to kind of be like, right, somebody's going to do something. Don't know what it is, don't know who it is, but somebody will try and do something here.
Yeah. I mean, again, though, looking back, it was preposterous when we did it, because at the end of the day, we're talking mini DV, we're not talking phones, no one's got torches on the phones, we didn't use lights on the camera because it would destroy the battery. I mean, looking back, it was always hard, but like, when that footage finally seen the light of day on that water, that is actually water video, it was just so like, I was like, finally, that's, you can watch that from two angles and it's just so funny. But again, it's just going back to what we did then, because like, there's a lot of stuff again you couldn't show, or it would kind of need explaining, you know what I mean? Or if you're talking about third parties, they would want some kind of like, oh, we need somebody interviewed on that to show that you're not victimizing somebody. And it's just like, well,
yeah,
it's just a part of the time, wasn't it?
Well, that's the thing. It was just a group of friends just fucking about and making the most of youth and making the most of just having a good time, not really giving a fuck about, you know, who it offends or how it'll be perceived in years to come. You're living for the now.
We were, when you're going back to this one, we were always about, I know you did a lot of funny skits where you'd be in the park and you didn't mind walking up and just rolling over somebody when they were reading and then them not realising anything had happened. But it was always in the group. It was never victimizing anybody outside, like, you know what I mean? It was never anything like that.
Nah. It's never been that. It's never been about that. There's no, like, I know in, like, our group, there's no humour in that. It's just dicks being dicks.
Yeah.
But when we're doing it together, like, everybody kind of knows what they signed up for, and everyone's just as guilty as everyone else.
Well, it's like the time we buried Jack on the beach, up to his neck.
Yeah.
And, like, everyone just, you know what I mean? Well, the thing is, we went there not knowing what's going on, but again, taking advantage that we're all over in South Shields, and there's a big hole, and Jack gets buried, and Jack just, you know, Jack's comedy gold. You don't give Jack a script to read. You just wait for Jack to just, you know what I mean? He's just perfect like that. And again, capturing the moment. Before I flick over, there's another scene as well. I always, just to sum you up, actually. It's always bugged me because there was two angles of this, and one of the angles I believe you would have probably had, and I think a bit of a mix-up. So we're in Shields, and there's this big long wall, and you ran along, and you didn't jump into the bush. You sort of knelt into the bush and fell between the gap. Do you remember? Yeah.
It was at the West Park.
Well, yeah, you did that, and there was an angle that I filmed that was really close, but when you see that other angle, it was just like, if is any of time God is trying to push you to the floor, that was that.
Honestly, right, the idea was to run and jump either over or into the bush. And I think what happened was I kind of got so far into it that I thought, oh, that's not going to work. And it was just kind of like my legs just stopped and went, hey, you know what, buddy, fuck you. We're not taking this. Legs stopped, and I just kind of went down.
Head first down.
Bush, head first. You know, the worst thing is that's a junkie's haven as well. That's a really bad thing, so I'm just glad I didn't wake up with any needles in my face or anything.
Fucking hell, man. So, no, I just wrote that down. I always remember, because I have never seen that other camera angle. I don't know if we got tapes mixed up that day or whatever happened, but... so, while we're talking... Right, we'll talk about this first. Again, me, you and Jack are just hanging out. And I think you'll know what's coming here. We're just hanging out. We've got the perfect shot. Jack agrees to stand there while we chuck eggs at him. And... you know what's coming, don't you?
I know what's coming, yeah.
And we'll get to that. I mean, again, this is on the era of digital media, right? Now, if I look back, this is probably one thing I would have liked had been filmed still on mini DV, because digital was coming along, and the thing with digital is you can literally get back, plug it in your computer, there it is. And like, it was early days, and like, but again, if you did it on tape, you would have to upload the tape in real time. By the time you did that, the camera was probably flat. You would then have to master it. Then you could probably look at it in real time. Again, when you were doing a digital drag drop, I was like, oh, that's great. But the problem is now, maybe it's 15 years later, the footage hasn't been... It's not that it hasn't been preserved, it has, but it hasn't aged well when it comes to other digital formats, especially when you look back at mini DV and how good the sound quality was in the pictures, some of the colours. And unfortunately, this footage we're talking about was filmed on digital. So we're sitting there, we've got the nice shot, I'm sitting next to you, we are chucking eggs at Jack, and for some fucking reason, they are not breaking. The one what hits him in the head and fucking fires off is absolutely brilliant, and Jack is starting to get frustrated because he thinks we've hard-boiled him. The thing is, Jack keeps picking them up. We've got the Area 51 sign. The next thing you know, I try to be cocky, turn around and slap you full force in the side of the head, right in the middle of camera with egg. I get up, I fucking run off. Jack chucks an egg from the bottom of the hill. It smacks me straight in the eye, and it is such an impact. I trip over, I start rolling down the hill, and again, the camera angle never moves because it's on a tripod. You're by this point going, right, you motherfucker, you're chucking eggs down at us. By this time, Jack's coming up the hill, and the last thing you do is you pick up a coconut and you just do a hoop shot and let go, and it hit his square in the back of the head. What did you think?
What noise?
It's the noise.
Honestly,
I think Jack. I think
it's the noise. You know, the thing is, right, there's a number of thoughts I've got, and this is one, right? I know why I picked up the coconut, because we're out of eggs. But the thing I can't get my head round, we went shopping, bought eggs. Who the fuck buys a coconut?
well, that was just us, though, wasn't it? It was a case of like we had a bag of flour. We literally, I think we must have just like, right, let's do that. Let's get this, because there's a scene later on with a bag of flour. But yeah, you couldn't have hit me any perfect. I mean, I think this was about 3 days before I went to the tournament. So I went to Bulgaria with a semi-concussion on my head. And like,
I remember your mum not being happy because of the fucking lump on your head. It was like fucking Warner Brothers cartoon. It just went.
My mum, she was proper like all night. She was like, "Are you all right? Are you all right?" Even when she dropped us off at the airport, "Are you all right?" And like even when I got to Bulgaria, I mean, I still had a headache for a couple of days. And me asking foreign people where I can get medicine and all that, I must have looked like a right smackhead. But no, like, I just wish that footage had been preserved. If it ever appears on the internet, it's going to look like so narrow, or like, you know what I mean? It's going to be really small. Because if you try and bring it up, it just starts looking like Lego. But again, that's the prime. That's, you put me, you and Jack on camera like that, and just, you couldn't have planned that.
That's the thing. It's like, you know, with anything that would do, it's not like, right, so today this is the plan. We're going to do this. It was just, right, put these people together, go and buy some random shit, and we'll see what happens. And, you know, luckily I had the chemistry where it kind of worked out that it was just some funny fucked up shit that we're lucky enough to kind of experience together.
At this time is like a coming of age thing again. People were moving away, people were moving on with their lives and stuff. We really, like, to be honest with you, for about 6 months, we really pushed this digital thing. And we created 2 characters that we had a lot of fun with. They were Long Jock Danglycock and Deadliest Monkeyus. Inspired by you bringing me back a monkey mask that I still have, by the way. It's right above my head. So you came across, you pulled on the Scottish accent. Originally, it was just a promo, because you were always good at promos. The Scumbag TV promo was fantastic when you did that years ago. The promo you did with a duck. Again, you put you down in front of the camera. You always used to say, right, get from A to B to Z, and then you would just fucking wing it. Even My Name is Caspar is from one of them promos. You cut this promo about Long Jock, and we were able to go upstairs straight away and go, right, now we'll go and film that. And that was like, I think we did 4 Long Jocks, didn't we?
Yeah. It's weird. Long Jock was one of them things that was just kind of born, and then realised it was kind of like, actually, this is something we could do a bit more with. And again, you put on a Scottish wig and you give us an axe. It's just kind of like, right, now this is happening. As
well as the classical music, because it was always the classical copyright-free music as well.
Yeah. It just worked so well with the piece, and the thing was just how fucking crazy, like, Long Jock was. It was just like, it worked so well.
I mean, from what I remember, the first one was a promo. The second one was about you trying to hunt me down. And like we would sort of like, right, get that angle, get this camera angle, and the collaboration was fucking class. Like, by the time we did the third one, Ned got involved as Phil, as one of his characters. Like damn motherfucker! Like all his family got involved. He's on the telephone. He wants you to hunt down like his pumpkin head. And then originally we were trying to get Raoul to come into it, who Raoul had been. As a character for a long time called Mr. Pumpkinhead. At the time, Raoul was moving away, and it's me trying to meet up with Raoul and get something to do, but everyone's working. Gally stepped in. I'm getting flashbacks here. So there was, on Long Jock number 4, Gally stepped in as Mr. Pumpkinhead. There's I'm thinking three now things that again I wish were more than just digitally preserved on film. Three things that were brilliant. One, the hammer rape.
Hammer rape, yeah.
Hammer rape was really good. Now that's me jumping on top of you with a claw hammer because like you were trying to track the pumpkin with me being the mischievous escape artist as a character. It's the only time you broke character's long jock because you were like, it's really in me fucking ring. It's really in me fucking ring. I mean, I've got this mask on. I can't see shit.
Because you've got a claw hammer shoved up your fucking hoop, and at some point you've got to tap out. Like, I don't care how fucking hard you are and how method actor you are. Like, when you've got a claw hammer sticking in your asshole, then it's time to call cut.
Yeah. So we call cut. This goes back to fucking me and you going to a supermarket, and like someone saying, "Do you need any help there?" And like, no. And like we came out the supermarket that day with a fucking melon, right? And Gally got up the tree, and Gally nearly fell out the tree. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember, because the branch broke, but it wasn't like it broke. He was up way high and it snapped, and he's clinging onto the tree for fucking life. And he ends up jumping down.
If he hadn't been a window cleaner and familiar with lights, he would have died there because that was a hell of a fall.
Yeah.
So anyway, Gally's up there, he does that scene and obviously straps up the melon, and you fucking take after take of pumpkin! Long jocks are coming, and the fucking melon's about to come down. And again, we're looking at the camera angles, we're looking at reaction shots, we're looking at fucking, you know, we're thinking so far ahead of all these cuts. And like, you ducked, it's a fucking melon. You ducked, it's a fucking melon. And then all of a sudden it fucking hit you square in the fucking eye.
You know what it is? I don't actually remember it hitting. What I remember more is ducking, because it sticks in my head more that I'm thinking, oh shit, that's a melon. That's a full-on fucking watermelon.
I mean,
and every time, it's like you psych yourself and go, right, we need this shot, we want to get it. And it gets so close, like, oh fuck that, no. And then the one where it does hit, it's like the only thing that you want to know is, how did it look?
Yeah.
Did it look good?
But again, that was going back to digital. Like again, there's been more than once an occasion where you were like, say for example, Lemonade, and you'd be like, oh look at that back, and someone would rewind the tape, and then tape over it, and it's gone. Do you know what I mean? Digital, you could like click back, and there it was. But no, like Long Jock, like I think what had happened with Long Jock is it ran its course. We were open to film it because I think the following year I did the Castro music video, and you've got a small cameo on that. And unless I point you out when I'm sitting with somebody, you'll not notice you're even in the video because you're like in the small little screen as the security guard.
Yeah.
But again, it was just like capturing the moment. I think we even filmed some Long Jock promos that he was going to come back around that era, but
that's the thing, like, it's when, like, you've got other commitments and, you know, real world kind of kicks in. It's, unfortunately, like, your passion projects take a hit.
That's it.
I think that's one of the things that happened, is that just real life got in the way.
It is. I mean, last night I've been developing a Lemonade video, and you are actually standing right bang in front of me when I get hit in the bollocks with a lemonade bottle. But we had some great stuff. What's that?
I was just going to say, was that when we were in Whitburn?
No, we're in the quarry up here. But even stuff like you would come across, and here's an elephant. What's an elephant? And smacking it over your head and stuff like that. And it's just kind of, again, just fucking capitalising on the time, really. So
that's the thing. Like, I mean, when you look back at that time, our age has got something to do with it. But I mean, the thing is, like, I'm 39 this year, and there's not one part of us regrets anything I've done, and there's not one part of us that wouldn't do it again.
Yeah. I mean,
like, even at this stage, I still think the shit we've done was hilarious, and, you know, it sticks with you for the rest of your life.
I mean, there'd be loads of footage in the archive of just me and you that is just lost to the archive because, like, you know, like it's always been the memorable things. Because like when you came along, Better Than F.A was already a thing, and then you came along with a lot more passion, and you were very willing, and you had your own ideas. Do you know what I mean? You didn't have to give you much direction when we were filming stuff. You always took direction really well as well, but you know, like a couple of years we tried and tried and tried. What did you think of Killing the Boredom in 2010, the actual finished film?
I remember getting the promo copy that you sent us, and like I'd watched it. I'd finished work and I come home and I watched it, and I think what I was left with after watching it was just like, as time goes, you forget things, and it's something that for me is like some of the best times that I've had with my friends immortalized in this film. And you know, it's people you don't see enough of, and it's, you know, times you'll never have again, but when you watch it back, it's just like living it all over.
Yeah, I mean, I don't tend to watch it often because it floods a lot of memories back for me, and sometimes I can't emotionally stand it, if that makes sense. Not in a negative way. It's just the avalanche that it comes back to me, and because like when you see the film, I've either filmed it and it's my point of view, or I'm there, and it's a lot to take in. And like when you watch it and you're like, oh, I remember that bit, and then you start thinking of all the footage that didn't make the cut. You know what I mean? I'll be like, as a creator and an editor, you're like, no. But there's a lot of like hard work, I mean, in that, and it's just a shame it never got released because like too many people wanting money or changes and stuff like that. But I was happy that it's still preserved and it's still part of Lonely Tree, and you know what I mean, I'm proud of it, you know, and it's great to like share it as a group.
You definitely should be proud of it. That's the one thing that I was left with as well, is just what an achievement that it was, that it got put together the way it did, and to be part of it is something I'm always going to be proud of.
Oh, that's awesome. The problem is it could never be put on YouTube because it's not only would the copyright claims be out the window because the soundtrack was awesome, but a lot of them bands are signed and stuff now. The film would just have to be cut so much. You know what I mean? It would be kind of like stuff would have to get blurred out, or you can't say this, and it would just be like, I've thought about it a few times and I went, you know what, I can't be fucking bothered to go through and edit the movie anymore, because like, if you know this much as anything, it's probably the first time I've talked about it. There was a cut of the movie that I was so happy with, and then when third parties got involved, they came along and they were like, right, you're going to have to take that bit out, this bit out, that goes there.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of changing around. I mean, Spain was completely cut out the movie, separated up into separate entities. And I remember they wanted the lemonade changing, and I was like, I'm not changing that. It says you're going to have to add an interview. Of course, if you add a fucking, it means sound stupid, but a 3 to 4 minute interview about lemonade and where it's from, you've then got to sacrifice 4 minutes of footage from somewhere else. They then were not going to allow the kettle to be in the film because it looked like victimization of Jack. So then Jack had to cut a promo to keep that in. And it just was just like, hang on a minute. Like, because if you look, there was another bit, there's a bonus extra called Better Than Nothing. And that was 35 minutes of footage that could have been in the movie. And it was literally, became that like Long Jock ended up being a 15-minute cut because it was clear that Long Jock was going to be a bonus feature. So that, like, it took the first 4 Long Jocks and put them into one, you know what I mean? They were trying to preserve it as much as possible, but like, you just couldn't get it on the internet.
So when you start cutting things and having to explain it, the joke's no longer funny if you haven't to explain what it is.
Yeah.
Some things just need to be seen.
Well, that's it. I mean, at the end of the day, we've laughed probably countless times at just random shit because it's different people's personalities and their moments. But like, you would have to explain that to a wider audience. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, let's just quickly talk about This Is Just Life, because you weren't in it at the time it was made. It was made within a year and a half period. So we didn't see a lot of each other at that time. You know, but that's just life. It just happened. You really stole the show every time you had a chance to be in the show, because you were technically the host of the show. You filled in some voids. You hosted it well, and then you had like the killer interview at the end. So you had a brief cameo on This Is Just Life. You do have a cameo in the new show as well, Welcome to the Land of the Long White Cloud. Because your messages when I was at Auckland, you were like, "Your holiday is making me sick."
Yeah, I remember like you putting photos on me, to be like, "Oh, fuck off, will you?"
Oh, you know, what do you do when your family lives on the other side of the world? Right, so...
My family's all in hell.
So before I ask my last couple of questions, you got any favourite memories of filming that I haven't covered?
I'm thinking.
Do you remember Hell?
Some of the funniest stuff.
Do you remember Hell?
I do remember Hell.
Have you seen Branches, the movie?
The what?
Have you seen Branches, the Better Than F.A movie?
Yes.
Well, it's like when it's all the stuff from the Guild Caves and the bridge. It's like over the years, it was just all
Honestly,
together.
You know what it is when you ask like about like favorite times and anything with fireworks, because I just am a total pyro. I love how, I mean, the boom, the big boom, when the monitor got blew up, when we just went absolutely akka and just blew some shit up. That was just, for me, just an absolute highlight. The like setting fireworks off with a lit tab in your mouth. I remember that.
That was always your go-to. I was always cautious, and you were like, I like Cooper, man. Like, no. And you were like, yeah. I'd be like, no. Even like, remember, you might remember this quite funny. You and Stedman were filming in your house, and I rang you about something, and you were like, oh, you never guess what I'm doing. And you were about to set a firework off, and you go, and I was like, no. And it didn't come out the ground, and just fucking egg went everywhere. I think you had eggs strapped to them.
Yeah, that was it. We're in. There's something I can't mention that we had tied to the firework.
No, but the video footage is like, the thing is, right? It's all right because it's fine. You strapped a goldfish to it. It came back down, and the thing is, the goldfish was fine.
Goldfish was actually still alive. That was the craziest fucking thing. It was just like, and it's not like I want to hurt animals or anything like that. It was just like, I've got goldfish. I actually can't even remember where the fuck we got it. But
well, you do live at South Shields. I mean, you do live next to a fucking massive fun fair. I mean.
Oh yeah, I went down, won a fish, and thought, I know what I'm gonna do. Let's tie this fucker to a rocket. But, you know.
Just going back to the Guild Caves, I remember, like, again, another time, like, Conrad, Shiv, they were all a good group of friends, especially hanging out at the nightclubs some of the times you came across. I mean, the time Shiv nearly shit himself when you had that BB gun, like the shotgun.
Oh, the shotgun.
And, like, I remember being in the caves and Shiv goes to you, what's wrong? And you were just like, it's just got hell wrote on the wall, and you're like... Again, you're not from around that area. You're fucking in the middle of the woods in this massive cave system, and you're just like, just got hell wrote on the wall.
Yeah, it just looked like a place where homeless people met to sodomize and dispose of bodies.
It's a little bit
looked like hell had been written as a warning to anyone that stumbled across it.
Definitely. So my last couple of questions going out of that, unless you've got any more that you've fond of or any reminiscence of favourite videos.
I remember getting hit in the face with a whoopee cushion at Stedman's. And I remember everyone's reaction being as if time had just stopped. and the impact was so clear that everyone was just like, fuck.
Do you know? Sorry, keep on going out now. I was just going to say, like, Stedman, looking back at that again, why the whoopee cushion was in and out of the films for ages was going back to the whole thing of like not being able to show third-party content. Stedman used to have a massive Spider-Man poster on his wall, a cutout of Charlie Chaplin as well. And when I hit you with a whoopee cushion, you can see Charlie Chaplin and Spider-Man. And it wasn't until years later that the second tape, which was high 8, got digitalised, that we had an alternative take. And like this is going back to what we call the mating call of the Stedman, you know what I mean, when he gets hit in the foot. It's that era of stupidity, you know what I mean?
Oh shit, I tell you what's just come back to us. The train ride.
Is that when you phoned me mum?
No, I rang some woman. I might have rang your mum.
Oh no, you rang me mum and me mum hung up on you straight away, that's what happened.
Yeah. Prank calls and the mousetrap on the ear.
Oh, on the fucking train?
On the fucking train.
Fuck me, I totally forgot about it. I mean, who takes a mousetrap on a train? Me.
I remember. I heard the snap and then I was just like, what the fuck has just happened?
I remember that, just like fucking... Again though, because of the way the seats were booked between a lot of us, so you had... Because there was not an old woman sitting next to you at some point. Yeah. So I was behind...
She loved me.
Well, I was behind you, so obviously when it was filmed you can see me. And again, that's just like, again, we captured the moment. There was the mousetrap, and then there was like when you made the prank phone call, and right at the end of the phone call, I'd got up so quietly and just came down like the hammer of God in the side of your face, smacked your entire lower jaw towards the fucking window, and you went, ah, bye, to the telephone to this random woman.
Yeah, I was pretending to be her son, and she was starting to get really freaked out. I said, "Man, I've been kidnapped. I'm on a train. I don't know where I'm going." It's okay to give him this drink.
I mean, looking back, I mean, if I typed in Cooper in the hard drive, you'd probably pop up in loads of kinds of things, but again, it's just capturing the time. But again, this was a French, this is me and you. I mean, Stedman was a big part of that, but like, we've clicked as friends just because we click as people. Do you know what I mean? We have a very similar sense of humour. We both have a nice nature. I know you're very protective of your friends and you've always stood up for everyone, but you'll always be like, you know what I mean, when, you know, you're always courtesy of like people, like, oh, what's going down? You've always got time, do you know what I mean? And I've always had time for you. And that's one of the positive things about like friendship like that, born from interest. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's it, like, you know, your life rumbles on and, you know, things change and things happen and that, but knowing you've got friends that you can talk to, bring any time of the day, any time of the night, and that they'll always be there for you it's an amazing thing. But to have all these memories of good times with them as well, it's testament to the friendship that you've got with people when you can look back and talk about it years later and still reminisce and laugh, and you know, you're not so jaded that you're thinking, oh God, you know, I shouldn't have done that, or, you know, that was stupid. It's like how confident I was in what we're doing. Like, I still now think it's some of the funniest times I've ever had.
That's awesome. Last couple of questions. You have seen the tournament, haven't you?
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's crap. I hate it. I hate every minute of it.
I thought you did.
I watched it twice just to make sure I hated it.
Exactly.
No, it was class. Really enjoyed it. It's exactly the kind of film that you can sit down, a couple of drinks, and just really enjoy it. And just a class, balls out action film.
What is your favourite film?
Oh shit. I hate this question because it changes and there's so many different answers I can give, but drop of a hat, Mac and Me.
Ooh, out in the pictures, see Mac and Me when I was a kid.
It was see Goodfellas.
Goodfellas is an awesome fucking. Have you ever watched the audio commentary with Harry on the extras? Henry Hill.
No.
Like,
I've read the book. The book's really interesting of what happens like after Goodfellas in his life.
Goodfellas is a fucking nightmare of a DVD. It's like it, because it's a double-sided disc. So you have to, on DVD, you still have to turn it over. And it's been brilliant preserved on Blu-ray, but like, it's an amazing movie. But when you listen to the commentary with Henry Hill, and it's actually Henry Hill, and he's on about like the guy at the start of the movie when he was driving the car, and he knows the guy in the back's about to get killed. And he's like, what do you do? When I listened to that commentary, I felt such a fucking chill go over my soul. Because I didn't realise the Goodfellas was a fucking true story.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, fuck. And like, you can put that film on, and it's so easy flowing.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's the kind of how I kind of judge a film. If you're flicking through the channels and it's on, you find yourself watching it at any time, at any point during the film, you can just pick up and watch it.
Yeah.
You find yourself watching it right till the end.
Oh, it's a fantastic fucking film. As a kid, what was your favourite TV show as a kid?
He-Man.
Ooh, He-Man.
Loved He-Man.
He-Man. What about She-Ra? Fan of She-Ra?
She was Irish.
I've actually got the box set of He-Man. It was more just like to find out, reminisce, because a lot of people have got like the same kind of genre. Oh, I thought it was going to be He-Man. Yeah.
Well, the thing was, the memory I have of He-Man was that I had the toys, but He-Man was actually created as a toy, and the show come of the result of the positive sales of the toy.
Well, that was it.
Challenge Star Wars.
That's on it's on Netflix, isn't it? Because like Battle Cat Cringer was a model from an African safari set, and they were like, "We've got this model here," and they were like, "Well, look at the size proportions. Well, it doesn't matter. It's a fucking green massive tiger. I mean, what else? Like, how? Like, when have you ever seen a green tiger? Of course, it's gonna be bigger."
When I've been high.
Yeah. So we're coming to the end of this podcast. What are you going to say?
2 seconds. Who was your favourite character of He-Man?
Well, I used to call him Leech. I mean, he's from She-Ra, but I used to call him Bleach as a kid, but it's Leech. I've actually still... I've got him.
I had him when I was in the bath as a child. He used to stick to the bath.
I've literally got him. He's actually standing at the top of the shelf. I like Skeletor. I thought Skeletor as a kid was fucking hilarious. Like, it's fucking...
I loved Ram Man, mate. I thought Ram Man was just like a human sex toy.
Fucking just pop. But that's the thing about the toys, right? If you look back at the toys, right? What I can remember, so you had He-Man. I've still got Battle Cat up there. So you had the first range, like Beastman was all Beastman. Beastman was all Beastman. So Beastman. You had Beastman was just all yellow, squidgy fucking head. You had Trapjaw, who's that. You had Merman, who had to change his name because he was originally called Seaman, but because he was called Seaman, and they were like, "No, you're gonna have to change that. You're literally gonna have to change that." So he became Merman.
Yeah, you might as well have called him Dr. Spunk.
And then you had like the next generation where you had stuff like the lizard people, where the bodies would break and there'd be loads of lizard heads. I've got a I don't know his name, but I've got like a yellow pink one with like his tongue used to roll out his back and stuff like that. They sort of give all the toys like an actual
Dude, honestly, they were dripping in sexuality so much. Like, look at Fisto.
Fisto.
Like, you know, look, we've got a toy for a kid. What's it called? Fisto. What's he got? A big shiny fist. Just to wrap up your ass.
He-Man. Just fucking. Just having a lot. I mean, like, even like the movie and stuff. I remember that as a kid. That was probably more dawned on us because like at that era, you didn't have YouTube. At that era, if you didn't see it on television or your friend didn't tape it, you didn't fucking know what you're talking about. But like when they brought the movie out, stuff like Thundercats, Ho, or Brave Star, the movie, you would know the movie inside and out. And the movie was He-Man and She-Ra, the movie, you know. So you know like these characters from that generation. But then you look at stuff like what Bam and Deacon Melonillo did when they did the Omen Recording Hell, and they did that He-Man video, and not only is Brandon dressed up as Skeletor and Beastman, it's the way the video is edited with the cartoon, and it's all like the humping motions and all like the weird like innuendos of it. So
it's honestly that I think that video is one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
It's great. I mean, I think Bam did it because he broke his foot, didn't he? At the time, he's got a broken foot in the video. But again, though, there's another group of people who, you know, really seized the moment, and it's something that we've got a lot in common with, to look back and go, I'm glad I captured that moment in my life. I'm glad it's preserved.
Yeah.
Especially now because we never did that stuff back then for YouTube. What was fucking YouTube? I mean, if you wanted to see a video I did, you would have to fucking come to my house.
Yeah.
And it's about a 40-minute drive between our houses.
And that's the thing, it was never like, it's not as simple as now where you could share it or like send it. It was just like, what's it like? And you'd be like, oh, it's really good, mate, you're going to have to see it. Alright, then I'll come over. Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, I've always loved editing and stuff like that and trimming it down, but we didn't do it for YouTube.
The thing is, though, the one thing I think is that I'm grateful that we didn't have it so disposable like that, because odds are we wouldn't have spent as much time together if it was so easy to kind of share and to kind of publicise like that.
That's it. I mean, it was like, again though, you're right, because when we were doing that, no one else was doing it. Like, and kind of like, it was a close group. We were friends and we were all filming because we liked doing that. We didn't do it because we wanted to be on social media and stuff like that. And that's what I'm really happy about, being where I am now in my point in my life, where I'm happy we had our 15 minutes of fame before the era of YouTube and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm more interested in being on anti-social media.
That's it. I'm happy doing this, branching out, talking to friends, remembering where I came from, because I've never forgot that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, that's what's, to me, is the most positive thing, especially now when we're doing this. I mean, if we weren't both in lockdown, we just never get the time to do this.
Nah.
You know what I mean? We've talked about this for a while, because I know you're massive in films and you want to be on podcasts, and you've always been like, yeah, dude, we'll get this done, we'll get that done. And we used to collaborate a lot over messages and voice messages, and it would just be like the time, because obviously something would always come up.
Well, that's the thing, you know, like, you've got work, you've got family, you've got commitments, and, you know, you can plan for as much as you can, and then, you know, something can happen and everything just goes down the fucking pan. The one thing that this has given me is perspective to look at, like, looking at time as a commodity, and this is the one thing that you're not getting back. You know, you can work as much as you want, you can, you know, go out there and try and have as much fun, but like, the reality is, when you're in this situation, you learn to appreciate what's actually there. You know, your family, your friends, and making the time to talk and to really just communicate and like find out what's going on with them.
Yeah, it is. Right, well, I've been Steve Monkey Mason. This has been an amazing podcast with the one and only Paul Cooper. I'm not sure what's going to happen with footage down the line. If you have just tuned in this podcast, maybe down the line, once lockup's lifted, me and Paul will catch up, we'll sit down. That'll be an interesting thing to do, mate, actually. We could sit down, get the double camera angles going, and reminisce and actually showcase the footage in some kind of a special that way. I think that would be really good.
Yeah,
because at least then we can contain, we're like, oh, the kettle, like the camera's going over the kettle, and just cut back to us going, nope, you can't see that then on the internet. But yeah, it's been an amazing podcast. This is Branching Out. Thanks for listening. Goodbye for now.